Welcome to the Frugal Family. My name is Julie, also known as the Frugal Mama. How's it going? It's Friday, and I'm here. And I apologize for having to miss last Friday and break our streak, but everything collided. The fates decided that was going to be the case. I was not well. And you got to do what you got to do, guys. You got to do. Whew, anyway, but here we are. Okay. It is Friday. And I got me some Diet Coke. I got me a bunch of ice water, necessary things. And what are we talking about today? We are talking about waste, consumerism, anti-consumerism, and what that means on like a personal level. Hello, Rita. Hello, Melly. Thank you for being here. And like what we can do about it, because for so long we have focused on trying to save stuff, trying to salvage stuff. Hi, Bonnie. Thank you for being here. But it's also down to personal responsibility, personal choices that we make. But it can get pretty discouraging. So I was watching, and I might even do a video about it with a bit of commentary and my thoughts on it. Hi, Dennis. Hi, Pamela. And how sometimes it feels like, I want to talk about this without it being too like depressing or like, I don't know. But I want to be honest too. I was watching something that another creator put out, and they were talking about the waste on more of like an industrial scale. And what I've been preaching on here for over 7 years is don't buy the stupid stuff. Don't get so much single use things. Try to reuse, try to repair, try to recycle. Hi, Kathy. And so that's been a lot of my message on here is reusing, and it basically what our grandparents did. That's what I've been trying to espouse, is that kind of ethic, that kind of behavior. And a couple of times, well, there's been several times, but people would say things. Hi, Phyllis. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. Yum. I had some comments and have had comments over the years that are hitting me a little bit differently now. Comments about, well, what difference does that even make, kind of thing, like, that's a drop in the bucket. Does that even matter? This little bit that you're doing. And what I always said was, well, maybe not this little bit that I do, but if a lot of us stop buying the single use and stop throwing stuff out just because the season ended, or getting stuff just for one occasion and then throwing it away, not repairing anything, not knowing how to sew on a button, stuff like that if we collectively could do better, it would make a big difference. And I still believe that to an extent, in that, yeah, each little bit does add up with the individual and the collective. And then it's also a matter of teaching the future generations better behaviors. And so as you get more ingrained with that old way of thinking on some things, you can make some progress, and you can improve by improving the behavior of your generation and future generations. And I still believe that. I really do. But just as I have been trying to, I don't know if expose is the word, but yeah, expose the reality of the waste that's out there, and how ridiculous it is. Hi, Lab. Thanks for being here. And try to give people the inside look at what's really going on. Things that people are just not even aware of for the most part, that haven't believed me until I've shown them that here it is. Here, this is what's happening. So I was watching this other creator that I really enjoy. And if I make another video about this, then I will link that creator. But because I can't even remember her name off the top of my head. But anyhow, she had just discovered dumpster diving on TikTok. And I had no idea there was dumpster diving TikTok. Who knew? But she was amazed and astounded and couldn't believe it. And it was all retail focused dumpster diving, which you guys know that's not where I started. I started with the public school dumpster diving like 14 years ago. God, 14 years ago. And only got into retail, a little later, and then more especially once I got onto YouTube. So anyway, she had discovered that somehow. It just ended up, kind of on her feed. And so she was just astounded and shocked and dismayed. And she brought up, sorry, let me turn off my notifications. I thought I had that turned off. But anyway, so some of the stuff that she pointed out as she went down her own rabbit hole was the waste on the industrial level. I'm glad you're here, Kathy, even if you're doing it while you're driving. Be safe, be careful. So she pointed out the more industrial level of waste, and it was overwhelming. Do I know about it? Of course I know about it. Of course I do. Sorry, I'm just adjusting this light. We have not good lighting right now. I need to start doing these somehow like in the afternoon because we have great lighting in the afternoon. Anyway, do you ever, as a saver, a salvager, do you ever get overwhelmed by the waste and the fact that even our best efforts and the amount of things that my family has saved and salvaged, repurposed, sold, reused, donated, whatever, over the years, that even that is still just this drop in the bucket of what seems, well, impossible to overcome. Yes, Dennis, that a lot of that happens. He said they destroy so much it turns into junk. They do. You guys have seen this, not just on my channel, on so many. There's so many divers on YouTube now, and I'm grateful for that. But it also highlights some really depressing stuff. I don't really watch many other dumpster divers. People will ask me, did you see what so-and-so's doing? So-and-so this, so-and-so that. I don't. And do you want to know why? Not that I don't want to support other dumpster divers. It's that it gets to be too much. It's hard enough seeing it myself and how overwhelming that is, and where we've, cleaned out the attic and we're trying to, do all these different things to get on top of it in our own lives and not let it any longer overwhelm our family, my marriage, our home, because it's overwhelming. It can really weigh on you, literally. I mean, you guys have seen how many times we've had to clean out the attic. We're not doing that anymore. We're not putting, oh, hello, Crystal, my love. I'm so glad you're here. I hope you're feeling better. Crystal had a real doozy. I don't know if she wants me to talk about it on here, but she had a doozy of a do. So glad to have you here. Hope you're doing better. So, excuse me, the allergies. God, Mariah and I went for a lovely walk this morning and trying to get ready for our upcoming, oh my goodness, our upcoming trip. I've had to push it back because of medical bills. You guys know I've recently had the wasp attacked me, and there's, some things. So, you know how it is in America. You know how it is. Luckily, we have pretty dang good insurance for living in the USA, but it's still, yeah. So I've had to push our trip back a little bit. So we're not going till October, but I actually think that's great because it's going to be spooky time on the East Coast. We'll be in Maryland and DC and anyway, and Pennsylvania. And there's Jen LFC just rolling in with a £9.99 very generous gift saying, "Good evening, Julie. Get yourself a treat on me." Jen, oh my God. I am absolutely going to do that. No, I'm going to save that for when we are in Maryland. Oh, okay. Quick sidetrack. Only because of Jen's generous gift. So this is on you, Jen. But we'll get back to what I was talking about, I promise. Because it's very important to me. But just picture it. You guys, sometimes you have to think about the goals, the things you're working towards, the payoffs, the reward. To remind yourself why you're doing what you're doing and to help you get through doing what you're doing. Especially while you're recovering from, some health situations. So, picture it. Me and the Mimi and I, sitting, okay. Woo! Okay, I've never been to Maryland, okay? So this is just me imagining and based on the research I've done and the videos I've watched in preparation, okay? But imagine it. Here we go. We are sitting at the inner harbor, okay, Jen? This is where your money's going, Jen. Mariah and I, of an afternoon, are sitting there at some kind of little table and chairs, I don't know, at the inner harbor, okay? They're in Baltimore, Maryland, and there's the tour boats going by, and I imagine there'll be water sounds, birds, I don't know. There will be people coming and going, and there we will sit. And I will have me a coffee, because of course it'll be a coffee. P.S. We have a link, the Buy Me a Coffee link, if you want to get featured in our trip to Maryland. So we'll be sitting there at our table, and we'll be tired, okay? Because we will have been walking all day over at, at Edgar Allan Poe's grave, at the location of where he died, at his house museum, at the statue of his there in Baltimore. We will have been walking all day. Okay, we're going to be tired. So it will be like a mid-afternoon pick-me-up coffee there at the inner harbor. We'll be wearing sweaters, maybe. I don't know how cool it'll be, but we'll have probably sweaters, sitting at this table, people watching as families come and go and couples head to dinner. There'll be a bit of a crispness in the air because fall. The leaves, okay, it's been a rough couple of weeks. You guys know, I went through some things, had some procedures done, started a new medication that made me incredibly ill, then got attacked by a wasp, which I am very allergic to, and had to go through all that. So I'm a little on the emotional side, okay? There will be the crispness in the air. The leaves will have changed colors. It'll be that feeling that you only get in New England. I know, I lived out there for a bit as a nanny back in the day. Oh, it'll be gorgeous. And sitting there on the table, we'll probably have some kind of sustenance. I don't know. They have a special cake, like a Smith Island cake that I've heard about from some of you. They have certain fish and things. I'm not a fish person, but I'm willing to try maybe one or two things while we're there just because, when in Rome. But most importantly, we'll have the coffee and some kind of sustenance aside from it. Mimi will have whatever she's having. She doesn't do coffee yet. And we will sit there resting our feet, probably on chairs. I'll be resting my feet, and we'll just be relaxing. we will just be relaxing, and I will drink my coffee and I'll watch a bird. Woohoo! That's more of an owl. I was thinking more of a, I don't know. Anyway, it is gonna be so good. That's what I'm gonna be doing, Rita. That is what I'm gonna be doing. Taking that time out from working so hard, which thank you. God, thank you for acknowledging that. And we will just sit, and that's what this is all about, is making those memories. This trip to Maryland with Mimi, because it's her turn this year for the one-on-one trip. You guys know that with my 3 kids, we started this like 8 years ago, doing a one-on-one trip in rotation with the 3 of them. And we've been able to do some amazing things and see some wonderful places and have just priceless experiences together that mean everything to me, that are worth every dumpster I've had to climb into. So that is where your money is going, Jen. Sitting on the dock of a bay. Absolutely. Oh my God. I hope there are, see, my experience is more like San Francisco and stuff. So will there be seals? I don't know. I've never been there into Baltimore Harbor. I've never been in Inner Harbor. I don't know, but we will have spent the day with Edgar Allan Poe and hopefully have felt, especially where it'll be Halloween time, hopefully have felt some of the like, woo, and then to follow all of that up with the most perfect, delicious coffee, which it will be. I believe I'm manifesting the most perfect coffee as we sit there somewhere at the Inner Harbor, maybe by the aquarium. I don't know. Maybe by all the big ships. I don't know. Which we will be touring. We're going to tour the aquarium, even though it's ridiculously expensive. I've heard everyone say that, but they've also said it's worth it. Kind of like Monterey Bay Aquarium. Crazy expensive, but super worth it. And we'll tour all those big ships. There's like military ships and whatever. We're going to tour those. It's going to be amazing. We have pushed it back to October. Once everything is finalized, I'll let you guys know what the plan is, so that if you do want to have your name featured in any of those videos, sponsor a coffee, sponsor a drink, whatever, we'll get to that. All right, back to the topic of the day. So thank you. There is a lovely man behind me. Look at that. Look at that gorgeous man. Can you see? Oh, he's going in the office and he's shutting the door. We got a rare sighting. It's like the Sasquatch. Woo! Was that really him? Oh, we better analyze the footage. Anyway. Okay, so he helped me prune trees yesterday too. Helped me and Mimi. The kids and we were out picking the last of the cherries and then finishing pruning trees. And there were some that I would have had to get on a ladder to do, and anyway, he came out and helped, and that was wonderful. But anyway, okay, so back to the conversation, which kind of sucks because that was so much fun, talking and dreaming. But I do want us to address this conversation, and I will be doing a more edited with my face on. I do plan on doing this and kind of regularly, some more commentary style videos talking about some of these things that have been weighing on me and that I've been thinking about and stuff that I've learned over the years. I really do. I want to talk about that more and do a little more of that. But for now, to catch up to those who maybe missed kind of the intro of this conversation, I was watching this creator that I've been watching lately who does a lot of commentary on all kinds of different things. Mostly she started with like makeup and fashion and then shopping trends and then consumerism. And then she ended up finding dumpster diving TikTok, which I didn't even know existed. And she was overwhelmed with it. She was astonished. She was flabbergasted. And I'm not. You guys aren't. Especially if you've been with us a long time and if you've watched other dumpster divers, you know that this is happening all the time, and this has been happening for a long, long time. And as I was watching her video and her take on it, I was grateful that she had realized it and was putting this out for a lot of people to see. She has a pretty large platform, especially compared to mine, and opening other people's eyes to it. And I was grateful to see that it's on TikTok. So that's opening a lot of eyes to the waste, just on an industrial scale, commercial scale. And I was grateful for that. But the more she spoke and the more she dug into it, it was upsetting. It was really upsetting. And I actually had to pause and go do something else before finishing her video, because it was really upsetting. And it left me feeling kind of like when you clean one room in the house or finish a project in the house, and then, this is actually a perfect analogy, you finish a project in the house, you clean something in the house, and then that makes you so much more aware of every other thing that needs doing, that needs fixing, cleaning, repairing, whatever, decluttering. I've been doing a lot of that lately, and it's every project that I do and that I'm grateful to do, and it does feel better doing them, but it then really does highlight everything that still needs to be done, because there is so much more. And that's kind of what it did for me, unfortunately, kind of overall the effect of watching kind of what I would call an outsider talk about dumpster diving and waste, because it brought back to me, as I was saying earlier, a couple of comments that I've had through the years, kind of repeated comments that you'll hear, different people saying them, but it's the same comment, that what we're doing here, even these 14 years of dumpster diving, that what we've done, or what other dumpster divers and salvagers and curb pickers and scrappers are doing, is drops in the bucket, and that we really, we can't make a difference. And I had always espoused this dream, this goal, that if we exposed enough of it, if we showed here's what to do, and here's what to do with the stuff, and here's where to go to find it, and here's how to give it a second life, and here's how to influence other people's behavior, your children, people in your sphere, to not buy all the single-use things, and to not waste things that could easily be repaired, and learn simple sewing to put a button back on and to stitch something up. Things that our grandparents did, that my grandparents and their parents, things that they just did naturally and out of necessity also. I had it, and I'm not saying I'm giving up, and I'm not saying that it's hopeless or pointless. I'm just telling you what I felt and how this all was for me, and kind of this sort of dumpster diver's existential crisis that I experienced while watching this. And it didn't help, probably, that I was watching this while recovering from everything that happened the last 2 weeks. So I was thinking of those comments, and then she was talking about the amount of clothing, fast fashion, 24 new clothing collections a year from some companies, and people buying, 20 to 30 pieces of garbage clothing at a time, and not taking care of it, maybe not even wearing it, and then tossing it. I had a roommate once back in the day who I would have to go behind her sometimes and see what she was throwing away, because she would buy new clothes and just throw away all of her old clothes. And I would take one or two things for me if they fit, if I liked them, and the rest I would donate, because she would just throw away clothing. Something I still cannot wrap my head around. If it doesn't have blood on it that you can't get out because it's already, set in. If it hasn't been thrown up on and you just can't deal with another throw up load of laundry, I mean, that I can understand. If it doesn't have mold, if there haven't been rats, if there haven't been bed bugs, why are you throwing away perfectly good clothing, especially if you are able-bodied and have a car and could take and donate it? Oh, sorry, that was a bit of a side tangent. So that's just people doing their regular waste. But then the more she spoke about the retail waste and what the stores are doing, and you guys know this, you all know it. You know that, there. You all know that that this is happening. That it's so how many bins have been locked or have switched to compactors in just the last 7 years? Because of people like me, unfortunately, unintended consequence and side effect, but that have switched to that so that their waste is assured, but also not seen. And do our efforts, and like I said, there's a lot more dumpster divers now here on YouTube, and then I had no idea that we had our sister dumpster diving group over on TikTok. Had no idea, and that's wonderful. But the more, unfortunately, the more that we expose it, the more that we do it here, because for a lot of us, it is our job. This is how we make money for the extras, okay? And for some people, just to live, period. The more that we show it, because it is so egregious and shameful, the more they get locked up or destroyed. How many, I stopped going to places like Old Navy and the Gap because they just destroyed all of it. They destroyed it. And then, well, Dennis, wasn't it you, Dennis, that told us about the grocery store where they had taken all the labels off of the canned foods? So all of this to say is, and just being locked. Yes, absolutely, just being locked. All of this to say, I'm not saying that it's not worth it, especially on a personal level, because you guys know how much money it has saved us, my family, gotten us through to where we are now. And between my husband working so hard, staying with the same company, working his way up over these years and years and years, 20 years, more than 20 years now, I think that he's been with that company. And then my efforts on the home front with couponing like crazy back in the day and dumpster diving for coupons, which then led to the other dumpster diving, which has, though it has been in its own way, its own form of a hardship and a challenge, because of it being so much and being so overwhelmed with it, and realizing that I do have a tendency to keep things and having to clean out again and again and again, and feeling so much responsibility and obligation to these things that we find. It has also saved us. It has saved us so much money. That's just reality. It just has. It absolutely has. These shelves right here behind me, the wood that we used for these shelves was from the dumpsters. It's just, we could go on a tour of my house, and I've been thinking about doing that again, and just showing, oh, this is from the dumpster, that's from the dumpster, or this was paid for because of stuff we sold on the dumpster, from the dumpsters, you know what I mean? And so on a personal, individual level, yes, it's absolutely still worth it. And because it's my bread and butter, it's this. But when it comes to the efficacy and the movement and trying to make a difference, is that happening? I don't know. More dumpsters get locked, more stuff gets destroyed. Yes, things are being saved, probably more than they were before. But even so, I don't know what people are doing with the stuff. Do you know? I'm going to open your eyes to something. I know that probably 90% of our dumpster diving audience, and someone even reminded me very kindly of it in a comment the other week, 90% of our dumpster diving audience, they don't care what happens after. They don't care. What do we do with the stuff? Where does it go? Does it get fixed? Does it get used, donated, sold? They don't care. Most people don't care. And this is okay. It's okay that certain viewers only want the surprise. The surprise in a box. The surprise goodie bag, the treasure hunt, the grand reveal. It's okay. But in the bigger picture, that unfortunately necessitates explaining some things, highlighting some things. You don't know what anyone else is doing with the stuff they find in the dumpster that they show, whether on TikTok or here on YouTube or Instagram or wherever. They might find a whole load of things that are still good, that are still useful. Record the content. Sorry, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, which honestly is what I've been doing for 7 years, is being the bearer of bad news. But they can turn right around and throw that stuff back in the dumpster after they show you. And this is gonna probably haunt me that I'm gonna say this out loud, but I'm gonna say it because I believe in being honest. I don't blame them. Did she just say that? Yeah, I did. They are exposing the waste. So that part of the mission is done. Good job. They made a video that helped pay for their lives. Good job. They got to do what they got to do. And they are not, though I wish they would take and donate all that stuff, load it in the car and drop it off at the thrift store on the way home. I understand that they don't want to bring all of that duty and obligation into their lives, into their 1-bedroom apartment, into their small home, because of what all that entails. And the drama, the stress, the chaos, the clutter that it can bring, not just physically, but also mentally and emotionally. It's kind of a side note that I wanted to point out, but it does in fact lend to, there goes my Lulu, putting towels away. It does lend to the bigger conversation, which is, are we even making a difference? A lot more people are dumpster diving and putting that here on YouTube. Thank you, Melly. And putting that on TikTok and putting it everywhere. But to what result? To more dumpsters getting closed, locked, more things destroyed, possibly more homes being hoarded or full, lives overwhelmed, marriages on the rocks. Guys, it's hard. And especially if you don't have a warehouse or a big, huge empty garage in your yard or rooms that you don't use, it's hard. And especially if you have the tendency to get attached to things or have the survivor mindset of, well, we might need it later, we might be able to use it later, we might not be able to afford it later, especially in this economy. Oh God, I didn't know this was, but this is good. This is therapeutic. It's a cleansing. It's dangerous. So when we realize the scope of how much is being thrown out, is it worth the effort and the trauma and the stress and everything else that it can cause when it's not, in the bigger picture, gonna make a difference? In the bigger picture, is it worth it? Why am I saying all this? I'm saying it because you guys are an amazing sounding board for me. You're such an amazing sounding board. And I need to think these things out. Hi, Manuela. I have to think these things out. And talk it out. And you guys are so generous and good in allowing me to do that. So thank you very much. It is worth it, like I said, on an individual level. In our family, yes, absolutely. But it's taken all these years to finally start getting my act together and doing it in a way that is sustainable, that I can manage. And even so, it's a process right now, figuring out how we're going to do this. And that we had a contractor over and worked out what the cost would be to retrofit the attic versus just building a shed, like a she shed. And we're probably going to go with the she shed. Yeah, and especially because of my knees and my hips and getting up and down. If you don't do like some of them do, which I'm sorry to say, yes, there are some. I saw when you said you see them doing blessing boxes and donating, and that's wonderful. I'm so grateful for the ones that follow through. But I promise you, have some inside knowledge about this. A lot of them just throw the stuff right back. And I don't blame them. Only because I've nearly lost my marriage, my family, my home, my sanity because of the toll it takes bringing all of it home and then having to do something with it besides just throw it away. God, I appreciate you guys letting me get all this out. I really do. Because it's heavy, it's overwhelming, it's a lot. I'm going to do a more scripted, because thanks to you guys, my loyal Friday crew, I've been able to think it out, get kind of think it out. And I appreciate that. That's helped me kind of suss things out in my mind so that I can do some kind of more scripted, edited conversation on this topic, because it has been weighing on me. And especially with the health struggles and the whatever. And Kathy says her garage is full. And Bonnie reminds us that her house freaking burned down and it was full of clutter from these activities. And us trying to save the world. To make a difference. Trying so hard to make a difference. Is it worth it? I think it's a question we need to ask ourselves. Now, this is a very privileged question. I acknowledge that, to be able to ask myself, especially now at this point in my life. It is a very privileged question to ask myself. Is it worth it? Is it necessary? When there are people who have no choice, and in order to have something to eat and in order to survive, yeah, they have to scavenge. I understand that. I acknowledge that. For the rest of us, where it is not a life and death, starve or eat situation, is it worth it? And if you're gonna do it, how are you gonna do it? And are you out there just for content or to make a difference? That's a solid question, Lab. Or not question, but statement. It's worth it if you enjoy doing it. Lab, I'm gonna challenge you on that one, my love. Kathy, thank you. Yes, if you want to put a thumbs up, I'd appreciate that. I'm going to challenge you a little bit, Lab, respectfully. I do enjoy it most of the time. The feeling I get, oh my goodness, when you find something amazing, there ain't nothing like it. But I don't enjoy sorting it, cleaning it, repairing it, trying to find a place for it to go while more of it's coming in and more of it's coming in, and I need to put out another video, so I've got to get out there again. So then I go and find stuff. Hallelujah, if I do find stuff, and then I've got to bring that in, and then so I would say it's important to enjoy it, and that is a thing. But I also enjoy drinking, and I don't do that very often. Because though I enjoy it, there are many a consequence. I enjoy gambling. There's many a consequence. So it's tricky. And I think one of the points of all of this is to sit back and be retrospective and introspective and all of that, and really evaluate if it's the right thing for each of us, and can we accept that we ourselves, the frugal family and the frugal friends and fellow divers and scrappers, can we accept, and for some of us, it's not a problem at all, because that's not why we got into it. I know there are plenty who, I'm just going to do my part. I need to make some extra money. I'm going to do what I can. I'm not going to get into the political side of it. I'm not going to get into the extended scope of it. And that's okay. Bless. Okay. It's okay. But for those of us starry-eyed idealists that wanted to change the world, stop consumerism, slow things down, be able to leave behind something better than what we found, can we accept that we're not going to make a difference? Or if we do, it's going to be small. It's not going to be this grandiose, earth-changing, earth-saving thing that we had hoped, that we had dreamed of, that we had aspired to. Can we accept that? And is it okay that we're not going to stop this massive locomotive of consumerism and waste and destruction? We're not going to stop it on a global scale. Not in our lifetimes. But will we, and I'm so glad this is coming to me now, a bit of positivity. Will we, I hope, plant a seed? At the very least, will we plant a seed that our children and our children's children maybe will start doing things differently? Hello, lovely chrysanthemum flower. Oh, I do love me a good chrysanthemum. Maybe we will plant a seed. Maybe we will be that drop in the ocean that does start a minor ripple. Maybe it will be, and that then spreads. Maybe we will be the flutter of a butterfly's wings that leads to some kind of change. By influencing the behavior of our children, our grandchildren, our nieces, our nephews, our brothers, our sisters, maybe when they go to shop, they'll think, oh, I don't guess I need that. Or, oh, I don't really need to throw that away. I can probably reuse that. Here's how I'm going to reuse it, which is a vital thing. Let's not just keep things just because maybe I can use it again or I should use it again. Keep it with intention. We'll talk about that another time. But keeping things with intention so that you're not just keeping things just because maybe, just because someday. Holly says, I think we have planted some seeds, but hopefully they will take it on to future generations. And I really think that's the only way. I think that's the only way at this point, is just keep planting those seeds. And for myself to continue showing what I do with the stuff, even though 90% of the audience doesn't care what I do with the stuff. They just want the reveal, the find, the mystery, the surprise. And that's okay. I like that kind of stuff too. But I will continue showing, here's what we do with it. Here's what we did with it. Here's what we were able to use or donate or sell or whatever. Going to be doing the mystery boxes and the themed boxes, getting that set up. But we are the start. We are the baby steps, the very tiny baby steps in this mountain, this Everest of a journey that will not be accomplished in our lifetimes. I'm 43. So no, it's not going to happen in our lifetimes. And Dennis, you make a valuable point there. He says just planting seeds is nothing without the water to make it grow. And I agree. As a gardener, we have to continue talking, telling, preaching, whatever. Try not to preach it. Try to show it, share it. Because people don't listen really well to being preached at. I've learned that more it's about showing and setting the example, sharing the journey, the experience, which can be hard because it can be embarrassing. It can, stigma and, whatever, shameful, blah, 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 whatever. But keep spreading the word through, your children, your grandchildren, your family, your friends, and even just Ooh, that's another one, Bonnie. The myth of plastic recycling. Oh, talk about a devastating, depressing documentary I watched about the current state of plastic recycling. It's terrible. I had no idea what all went into it. What? We clean our plastic, we tossed it into the recycling bin, and then, oh, magically we're saving the environment. No, it's not. That's not the way it works. I'll be doing a video on that. Like I said, I am going to be doing some scripted, more commentary, more video essay kinds of videos here soon. And plastic recycling, that's a tricky one. I didn't know, or I don't want to go too much into it, but maybe it's a good thing because I can kind of, bounce some things off. Our plastic to get recycled gets sold. I didn't know this. I feel so ignorant that I didn't know this till this documentary I watched a couple months ago. Our waste gets sold and shipped across the ocean to the other side of the world. Now, I knew, what I did know is here in the great state of Utah, where we have so much desert, barren, salt flat desert, I did know that here and like Nevada and some other places that we sell waste space. There's Jamie. Hello, my darling. I'm so glad you're here. Like nuclear waste, toxic waste, all this stuff is buried out in our deserts. And we sell it. We sell the space. Sorry, I'm doing this because I don't want to get demonetized, but it's like whoring out the state of Utah and other desert states because we bring us your garbage, your dripping toxic sludge. We'll bury it for you so no one has to think about it. Things I didn't know the extent. I knew that we sold space for garbage in Utah of that variety from the other side of the world. But what I didn't know was that we also sell our garbage. So weird. Oh, our garbage to the other side of the country for it to be recycled. Which seems so like, what? So upside down, because I mean the cost, the fuel, the pollution, whatever, to ship all our shit to the other side of the of the world to hopefully be recycled. Well, the problem is, according to this documentary, and they had pretty solid sources and links. Yeah, it's horrible, Crystal and Holly. It is utter madness. A problem we have is that we don't have, this is gonna sound, this needs to go on a shirt. I've been finding so many things. I'm like, I want that on a shirt. I want that on a mug. We don't have good enough garbage anymore. Kathy, congratulations. That's fantastic. We don't have good enough garbage. This is so bizarre. So they're turning away our shiploads of garbage, recycling, because it's not good enough plastic. You can't just take anything and everything that's plastic and throw it into your recycling and expect that this is going to turn into a park bench or a new handbag. That's not the way it works. There's like, where is it? Oh, yeah. There's like little, you're not going to be able to see that. Oh, there, ooh, it actually showed up. Little symbols with the recycling thing on them. That doesn't mean that it's recyclable. That's not what that means. Ooh, that is the title. There it is. Hopefully I'll remember this, or maybe I'll write it down. You can't recycle that. You can't recycle that. That's going to be the title. I'm writing it down right here, right now. In my notebook, my handy dandy notebook that I happen to have right here. You can't recycle that. Thanks, guys. You helped me find a title. Oh my God. And there is Jamie flying in with a Canadian $10 for coffee. Did you guys know there was like 4 or 5 days I wasn't able to drink any coffee because I was so sick from the new medication, though it is helping me. I've woken up for like 3 days in a row and my hands weren't stiff. So that's awesome. But it also made me incredibly sick. And I was not able to have coffee. I was not able to have coffee for like 4 or 5 days. Jamie, bless you. Jamie, you weren't here. And we'll come back to this once I get off my tangent. But I'm going to tell you, Jamie, that $10 for coffee, we're going to use that in Maryland, where Mariah and I will be in October. And we will sit somewhere and we will drink some coffee and we'll record a video of it and your name will be on the screen. This coffee, or sometimes this, I heard they have some really special brews and drafts and such there at the Inner Harbor that are specific to Maryland. So might be doing some of that, but it will have your name. In fact, I'm writing that down right now. Jen LFC. Here we go. Jen LFC and Jamie Turand, or is it Turand? Anyway, your names will pop up for there. We also have a buy me a coffee link if you want to sponsor a drink on our upcoming trip. Anyway, but we'll come back to that. Back to the topic. So this little recycling thing. Anyway, thank you, Jamie, my darling. You're so wonderful. The little recycling thing on there doesn't mean that you can recycle it. What it's doing, that little recycling symbol, it'll have a number. And that particular number is what you need. You need and I don't know what they are off the top of my head. I'll make a video about it. But you need that particular number to be one of the numbers that is recyclable. So when we dumpster dive and we're out salvaging and we're looking at all this plastic waste, and I have said, and you have said, oh, they should have recycled it. You can't recycle it. I'm saying that to me more than I am to you. You can't recycle it. It can't be recycled. That might be the better title. It can't be recycled. No, I like you can't recycle that. Well, or maybe it can't be recycled. I don't know yet. We'll see. I'll have to play with it. Haven't even read the script yet. So no matter how much saving and salvaging we do, if the behaviors don't change, if the consumption and production doesn't change, it doesn't matter. Oh, that's so disheartening and depressing, and that's not what I want for this. If anything, I want it to embolden us, embiggen us. If you know what that's from, tell me in the comments. It embiggens every man. Come on. One of you would know that. Laura Ann Puhala, rest in peace. If she was still here, she would know. She would know what that was from. I miss her. God, I miss. Ooh, let's don't do that. Let's don't do that. But I miss her. Anyway, it really is down to the beginning, not the end. It's the only way that we can make a difference is by influencing the behaviors at the beginning, not the end. Well, a little bit in the middle too, because that would be the repairing, repurposing, reusing, sharing rather than throwing away. Although we've exposed, many times we've exposed that the thrift stores throw away loads of stuff too, because stuff doesn't sell or it's not good enough for selling, or they run into the same problem that I have here where there's just not room anymore. There's just not room, which I mean does say something good that they're getting so many donations that they just don't have room for all of it. That's great. That's wonderful. But they run into the same problem that we do here in my home, where you just run out of room and you got to clear out. That was a big conversation, a multifaceted, not really multi-topic, because it's all the same thing under the same umbrella, but many facets that I want to break down, maybe even into a little bit of a series. Maybe the series can be, you can't recycle that. Or maybe the series can be something to the effect of, you know what, I'm going to write it down, because it will be eye-catching. And you got to have a little bit, at least a little bit of clickbait in your title. You have to. Got to get the views, guys. Me and Mimi have a trip we're going on. So, I got to go see Edgar Allan Poe's grave. But, what about a title? This is so terrible. You can't make a difference. Mimi's over here gagging on her. She was eating grapes at the time, nearly choking when I said that because she busts up laughing. Sorry, Mumu. A series called You Can't Make a Difference. A very negative title, but with hopefully a positive spin. You know what I mean? But back to our garbage that's being sold to be recycled or whatever. Yeah, me too, Dennis. That's the problem. I'm also quite long-winded and could just talk and talk and talk. So that's why I need to script. I need to use that long-forgotten bachelor's degree, creative writing, and, get organized and actually write a script. It'll be an effort. But anyway, our garbage isn't good enough anymore. There are not enough recyclable plastics in our garbage to make it worth the other companies companies in other countries. It's not worth it to them to buy our garbage anymore. So where does that garbage end up? Well, yeah, in the landfills and in the ocean and in the whales, literally in the whales. Yeah, it's going to be a series. The series will be called You Can't Make a Difference. People are going to be like, is this some kind of bullying, harassment? Nah. Oh, Dennis, my scripting would be from the heart. I'm a creative writer. Yeah, my heart. I have to rephrase even that. My heart comes out onto the paper. Hey, we're going to see Edgar Allan Poe. All right. It flows through the pen or the keys. All right. Frugal Living, Shelly. Are you going to email me that today? Because if you're going to email me that today, then I will check my email. Shelly, we're going to visit. Let's change gears just for a minute. I mean, I think I got the point across. It's all devastation, destruction. Nothing we do matters. It's the end of the world. Oh God. Let's talk about happy things for a minute. So back to the coffees, Jamie and Jen and anybody else. We're going to visit. Yes, Dennis, Passion should be my middle name. Instead, I got Olivia and Renata. Anyway, those are my middle names. Okay, Shelly, I'll keep an eye out for it. No worries. But we are going to visit. We're going to stay in Baltimore for a few days, and we'll hit up all the Edgar Allan Poe sites. We will spend a day at the Inner Harbor. We will do one day in Washington, D.C., where we are going to visit the American Girl doll store, and then also do a bus tour. Mama's not trying to find her way around all the monuments. Not doing it. So we're going to pay for a bus tour. Go with a group. Whatever. That'll be fun. You know, I love to get to know strangers and stuff. So, excuse me. We're going to do that. We're going to spend probably 2 days in Ocean City, Maryland. And we are going to Gettysburg. Just decided that yesterday that we're going to do Gettysburg. I didn't realize that it was so close. You know, everything's different in the East Coast versus the West. In the West, everything is so far apart. The states are gigantic, ginormous, and things are so far. Yes, Pamela, Trump City Cakes! I love Duff. Oh my God, I am such a fangirl. Oh God, I have had the biggest crush on Duff Goldman for ever. No, we won't get to meet them. I don't even care. I don't care. But I want a picture. I'm not going to be an idiot and go knock on the door. I know you're not supposed to do that. I'm not going to do it. I'm not. God, why are you guys even thinking I'm going to do that? Jeez. Do you not even know me? He probably doesn't even work in there anymore. Like, he's probably like above that now, and it's just his minions that do that now. But I am getting a picture in front of Charm City Cakes. That's it. That's all I am. Okay? I am. Anyway. What is it about him? I don't know. Anyway. Oh, Rita, I'm so glad. Oh, I'm so glad. So, anyhow, let's see. 2 days in Ocean City, probably. Probably 2 days in Baltimore. 1 day in DC, and 1 day, kind of a free day where it's like, all right, Baltimore will be kind of our jumping off point. What do we even feel like doing? Do we feel like driving up to freaking Scranton and getting all my like Office merch and Office pictures and, you know, The Office, the TV show that you guys know that I love, and that, you know, Dwight Schrute is my Lord and Savior and all that kind of thing. Maybe it's quite a drive, so we just might. Oh, Jamie, yeah, you know what's up. And then we'll have a day that is devoted to Civil War sites. Hi, Vicky. Oh, I'm glad you can make it. We're a little bit over, but hopefully you guys don't mind. Yeah, I didn't realize that so many things that I thought would have been, and some things are, it's quite a distance. This thing's bugging me. Sorry, I can take this off. Some things, it will be too much of a drive. There's some that are, it's just like, I don't want to spend so much of the vacation driving, you know? But there are so many things available within reasonable driving distance. So we're going to hit, in 1 day, we will try to hit Gettysburg, Manassas. There was another couple of them that I saw that were right in that, Antietam. That might be a bit of a stretch. I don't know. Or if we can't do it comfortably in 1 day, then what we will do is kind of try to work them in to the other locations. I hope so, Kathy. I always go into these trips knowing, expecting and planning for things to go wrong. For instance, when Lulu and I went to New York, This is 7 years ago. When Lulu and I went to New York, we were on Coney Island and I had blisters all over my feet. This is when I was still trying to figure out the right shoes for my feet. Luckily, I've done that now. I'll be doing a video about that soon over on my current obsession, because I have finally found the perfect shoes for my feet. But anyway, wasn't there yet. Foot care. There's so much to be said for foot care. In every war up until what? No, even in Vietnam. Jesus. I don't know about in like the Gulf War or Afghanistan or Iraq, but the wars before that, in so many conflicts, one of the biggest problems and causes of maiming, death, and destruction was foot problems. Your feet. Guys, you gotta take care of those feet. Anyhow, so we had been walking all over New York City and, doing all these things. And then by the time we were going to Coney Island, I had blisters, horrible blisters. And they were just driving me crazy. Well, sitting on the beach, one of the dumbest things I've ever done. And I've done some really dumb things. But I thought if I pop them, the blisters, I'll feel better. On a sandy beach, like 3 miles from the car. Just let that sink in. Just kind of absorb that. Popping blisters on your feet, on the beach, a sandy beach, 3 miles from your car. Do you see anything wrong in that scenario? It's classic Julie, though. Let's be honest. It is classic Julie. Yes, Shelly, Frugal Living, absolutely. We'll be there in October. Oh my God. We will be there in October. I wonder if my baby brother can meet up with us. He lives in Indiana, but he travels all over the place for work. I don't want to say what his thing is, but he manages aspects of big corporations that require him to travel to different destinations. How to keep things private. There's Andrea. Hi, Andrea. Yeah, guys, it was awful. Okay, it was awful. Rita, absolutely. I didn't get to meet up with Rita in Oregon because of one of the many things that went wrong with the Oregon trip. And that's what I'm saying. Every trip, I expect stuff's going to go wrong. When it was Oregon, we kept getting stuck in the mountains in between the coast and the city. We would get stuck behind wreck after wreck after wreck. Gruesome wrecks. Horrible wrecks. And we ended up missing our flight. You remember that, Rita? I was talking to Rita for like 3 hours that day. A lot of the time we were just stuck, in a sea of cars, in a parking lot in the middle of the mountains, not knowing what the hell to do. Ended up missing our flight home. That was awful. You remember that, Rita? That was awful. God, that was bad. So we just go into it knowing that stuff's going to go wrong. As far as my feet, luckily my brother, same brother, that lives in Indiana and meets up with me a lot on these different adventures. Him and his then wife were also with us, and he ran all the way back to the car. So all I had to do, even the memory of it is so painful. Oh my God, it's so painful. I had to get from the beach, on Coney Island, I had to get from the beach through the boardwalk to then the sidewalk, and then he picked us up. And then that night, I just soaked my feet in the bathtub at the hotel forever and ever and ever and ever to get all of that. This is so awful. This is like straight out of a horror, like Saw or one of these horror whatever films. My feet, the open wounds of the blisters had so much sand in them, I couldn't get it out without clipping off all the skin to get it out, which was, oh my God. I've made some mistakes on some of our trips. that time that, well, this was in New York, Olivia and I, the first hotel we stayed at was the Millennium, right across from World Trade Center and Tower One. And it was gorgeous, amazing. Oh my goodness, fanciest hotel I've ever stayed in. But then the second hotel, I didn't read the reviews. I did not do enough research. It was the same price as the Millennium. Apparently I got a really good deal on the Millennium Hotel. But it was this one out in the Bronx, or in Harlem. I don't remember. Anyway, in a sketch neighborhood. And it was a drug dealing hotel. There was no blanket on the bed. All you had was a sheet. And it felt like you were just laying on a box. It was horrific. It was awful. We were in there only when we absolutely had to be. There with my 11-year-old daughter, walking from the subway, the train, whatever, down the street. Luckily, everyone was very kind to us, very nice to us. Thank you, people of, I believe it was the Bronx. Thank you so much for being so kind to us. Some of them looked at us like, there was this one older gentleman, and he was sitting in a chair on the side of the road, and I don't remember what he was doing, working on shoes or something, if I remember correctly. And here I am with my 11-year-old daughter who's got her American Girl bag, because we had gone and gotten some American, anyway. We're walking, this is so ludicrous. It's like 8 at night, and we're walking, police sirens in the background. Ah! And this guy looks up at me, thinking, girl, what are you doing here? With your baby? What are you doing here? Dragging that baby girl down there, walking all The things we heard in that hotel, oh my God. Lulu learned a lot on that trip. She learned a lot. And you know, I'm actually going to take a little bit of credit for that, because it isn't always just Disney parks, even though a lot of people think it is, especially if they've only been watching our channel for a couple of years. No, I have endowed my children with exposure to all kinds of things in this world. Opportunities for gratitude, for knowledge, for cultural appreciation. And then I've also taken them, into the subways at the wrong time of night in the wrong neighborhood. And then we had to use an elevator and had to hold our noses the whole time because of the smell of pee, of old urine. Yeah, we've had some adventures. It's been good. It has been good, and I'm grateful for it. And you guys have been a huge part of making all that possible, as has dumpster diving. And so let's wrap all this up in a bow. The big question of, is it worth it? For me, yes. For the most part. With the caveat that it has also been so challenging and destructive and detrimental too. But we are now at this point, over 7 years on YouTube, 14 years dumpster diving, finally coming to a place of balance. Hallelujah. If you have been wondering what's going on with the, attic. I had a contractor, came to visit, and we priced it all out of what it was going to cost, what it was going to entail, and then my husband pointed out, and I didn't appreciate it at the time, but I do now, pointed out physicality and the future and, my knees, my hips, whatever. And so we are actually going to go with a she shed. And I hate that thing. So for me, it's going to be a studio shed. Shed studio. She studio. Shed she studio. Studio. Anyway. So that I don't have to do stairs. That only makes sense. So I bought a shed. I've got a guy who's going to assemble it for me. And as I can afford to, we will add in the things that we need to make it a real studio. And the attic will now and henceforth, this is the commitment, oh my God, to you guys, to my husband, to my family, to myself. To myself. The attic is for storage, not storage of dumpster diving stuff. Oh God, did you feel that? I felt that. Way queasy, and not just because of the new medication, I don't think. That's a wow. That's a commitment. We've owned our home for like 16 and a half years, and I've been dumpster diving for 14 years. So the majority of the time we have had our home, that's where hi Tam Tam. Oh, you just squoze in right in time. I'm so glad you're here. No, Andrea, it's not gonna be the crap cabin because we're not doing that anymore. That's the point. My darling, that's the point. See, we're not gonna keep all the stuff anymore. It's gonna be a well-organized, well-oiled machine of a studio. You'll see. For 14 years, when I've had excess dumpster diving stuff, especially when I was dumpster diving every single weekend and stuff hadn't gotten locked up yet, you guys remember, if you've been with us a long time, mountains, unbelievable vans full. Yeah, it all went up in the attic. And that's been the behavior for 14 years. Breaking that behavior, it ain't easy. It's not. So what's going to go in the attic? Well, that will be baby stuff that we're keeping. I have two totes of the dresses grandma made, the blankets great grandma made, the, blessing and baptism, whatever, back when we were religious, outfits that belong to so-and-so's grandparents, great grandparents, or that someone, special made for two totes of baby stuff. Oh, Holly, thank you. God, thank you very much. It has been so much work. So much work. So thank you. Christmas, which we went through and decluttered even more. I don't think I really brought you guys along for that, and I don't think I recorded much of any of that because I just wanted to get it done. Yeah, honesty, Melly. Honesty is huge, and honesty is hard. Oh, Pamela, thank you for believing in me. God, thank you. What else? So, Christmas, which I've again downsized. Holiday decor, so St. Patty's Day, Easter, Valentine's. But we got it down to two totes. And I'm actually going to go through those again this next year when those holidays come up again, because I know we'll have found more or been gifted more, and so we'll go through them again and stay to the two totes. Then camping stuff is up there. Our sleeping pads, what do you call it? Sleeping bags, the poop tent, whatever. Those things are in the attic. Oh, and canning. My canning and bottling supplies, we're moving, like we've already put some of them, but we're moving the rest of them also into the attic. So, because they're not things I use often enough, only through certain times of the year, they don't need to be taking up space in the laundry room, which is where they've mostly been, or in the garden shed. They don't need to be out there. And now it just makes sense. Okay, those are things we're going to keep. We do use them enough to warrant them having, a home in our home, but we don't need them in our living space. So they'll be in the attic. Frugal Living, I've thought about that. She asks if I can move the Halloween shed to the attic. And I have been contemplating that. And it's not a bad idea. It would be really nice to have my Halloween shed be my gardening shed and have all of my gardening stuff centrally located and set up my potting table and stuff out there with all of my things right there, easy to get to. Possibly. Possibly. Yes, Dennis, clutter, it's the habit of clutter is very tough to break. The habit of keeping is very tough to break, but we're doing it, and you guys can do it too, and we're doing it together. I hope you're doing it too. I hope so. I definitely, as far as the Halloween, Shelly, want to put all of my big skeletons and dog skeletons and, all of that. I definitely, at the minimum, want to put those in the attic. But I need to talk to James about it and have an accord, come to an agreement on that. I think part of that would be making some more tough choices in the Halloween so that we limit how much is going to be going up there. Yeah. Realistic. Well, at this moment, I don't see moving anything but the big skeletons and dummies up to the attic. I don't see moving any of the rest of it. But even if we did just that actually might be enough to have gardening on one side and Halloween on the other side, because we did make a bunch more really tough choices. And that was round 3, I think, of decluttering the Halloween. So this Halloween, I want to do a round 4 and declutter yet again. So what if we said that the big skeletons and dummies can go in the attic with the other holiday stuff, and then have one wall. God, okay. One wall for Halloween. And then the other side can be for gardening. And then the other wall, miscellaneous. Because there's brooms, witches' brooms and scythes and stuff, and they kind of get stored over there. I don't know. That'll be something we'll kind of work through. Yeah, Pamela brings up such a good point, and that would be another good topic for me to do a kind of a commentary video essay about. What about when the clutter isn't yours? Technically, historically speaking. What if it's your mom's or dad's and they're gone? All right, time for a confession. There is one other tote that's in the attic, and that is a tote of my dad's clothing. I made a quilt, hand-pieced, hand-quilted, a quilt of pieces of shirts and pants, etc., that were my dad's. I did that as part of a project in my creative writing program in one of the courses. You did a project of some kind and wrote a paper to go with it. And for me, it was that quilt. And it's a lap quilt that I gave to my mom for Christmas that year. And that's priceless. Okay, that's absolutely priceless. Especially because these hands can't do that anymore. And anyway, but these hands dream of doing that. And so I still have the rest of the clothes. Now, it's not my dad's entire wardrobe. My daddy, boy, he had clothes. That man loved clothes and boots and hats and rings. And he was a bit of a diva that way, but he earned it. He deserved it very much. So I still have that tote. And I can't let go of that one. Yet. So, what about that? What about, well, that was my dad's, that was my grandma's, that was, so-and-so and so-and-so. And so-and-so had a, traumatic death, a tragic end, and I still haven't processed it, or, there's regrets, and the last thing I said to them was in anger. These are not my situations, okay? I'm projecting these different scenarios, possibilities, okay? Just throwing all these out there. How do you work through that? Well, one, I think a therapist is very helpful. It's been very helpful for me. Because that's not the same as getting rid of, all of your excess Tupperware. It's different. Gratefully, I didn't take on very many of my dad's possessions. I have 3 or 4 things that were gifts that he gave me that are priceless to me. And then we each got one of his rings. The man loved jewelry. So we each got one of his rings. And that's about it. So other than that, it's the tote of clothing. And until I die, there is still the possibility of making another quilt. And I know that's not the healthiest way to go about decluttering. That mindset of until I die, there's the possibility I'll do something with this. I understand that. And I don't apply that to everything, and neither should you. Maybe pick one tote. Have a limit. I've found that a size limit, having these parameters, is incredibly useful. Incredibly useful. So maybe limit it to one tote. I have this one tote that until I die, there's a possibility that I'm going to do something with it. I have no idea what that is at this moment, but it is still possible, and it means something to me. But limit it to one tote. Hey, that's a video. One tote. You guys are so helpful. I'm going to write this down. One tote limit for the maybe, we'll call them that, the maybe some days. Because we all have those maybe some days, especially if you're a saver, a salvager, or you inherited somebody else's estate. You're going to have the maybe some days. And they can be sentimental or not. Yeah. Anyway, I got to get off of here. I got stuff to do. Speaking of, the decluttering and the that yeah. I did want to tell you though, just a quick, Hi Sylvia. Thanks for being here. Oh my God, Pamela, over 200 Santa Clauses that were her mother's collection. Good Lord. What I want to do for my kids, you guys remember the other month when my grandparents-in-law cleaned out their entire house because they were downsizing? What a gift. What an absolute gift to your children and grandchildren to have everything decluttered. I'm not saying get rid of all your stuff, okay? But to have everything decluttered to the extent that as they are grieving, they don't have to also be cleaning out your entire estate. That's a gift, and I want to do that for my kids. Absolutely. But hopefully I have a few years, or 20, to do that in steps. Steps. And not just one big purge. I would really prefer to not have it just be one big purge. But anyway, part of that is, circling back, the she studio instead of the attic. It makes more sense in the long run. It makes more sense financially. I hate the idea of taking up some of our patio space for it. I really don't like that idea. But then I remind myself that a lot of that patio space is pretty unusable most of the day, most of the year, because it's too damn hot and we can't plant a shade tree there. And so unless we built a permanent canopy situation of some kind, it's pretty unusable. So in this body, Dennis, no, God, no, not to sound so morbid or anything, but I don't want 40 more years in this particular body unless they happen to come up with some kind of, I don't know, RoboCop type stuff, ordering new updates and parts. And anyway, I know we're getting there. We are getting there. But it just makes more sense to have the shed. Yeah, it does. And it kind of goes with the idea that I wanted to have it be its own space, separate from the house, so that I can leave work at work. You know what I mean? There are some things I'll have to record in here. Cleaning with me and, decluttering this and that. Obviously, got to record those in the house. But the unboxings and the product, I have some fabulous product reviews coming up. Oh my God, so excited. But that kind of stuff doesn't need to be here in the house. Sorting and processing of things that we salvage doesn't need to be here in the house. Nope. Crafting stuff, even that doesn't need to be here in the house. Nope. It'll be in the shed, and when it's time to work on it, that's where I will go. And I am going to have power run to it, and a little coffee station, yes, something to decorate and paint and make pretty. Pamela, you said it perfectly. Melly, have a wonderful weekend. It will be my workplace, such as it is. Yeah, it will be my workplace, and it will be separate, and I won't need to do stairs other than the back porch stairs, which I think is ideal, So, bit of a change of plans. I will do a video about that because I know not everyone will see this, and it's kind of buried in this whole conversation. And I know people will want updates on that. So I am going to, do some kind of, little update video on the whole process. And once it cools down enough that we can get up in the attic and organize the things that are going to stay up there, I'll show you that. And the plans for the studio shed and what all that is going to become over time. It will take time. It'll take investment. It'll take paying off medical bills and and trips to make memories. Yeah, a list of priorities. Absolutely. Absolutely. Dennis, you're fantastic. And that's where I'll be doing the mystery boxes and recording all that will be out in the studio shed. That will hopefully be built. The basics of it is not going to be anything fancy right away. That's going to take time, but the basics, making it usable, that should be done in the next 3 weeks. Yeah, crazy. It's an investment, but it's exciting. And hey, thank you to our Patreon members. You're a huge part of making this possible. You guys are wonderful. Thank you so much for giving me, over an hour and a half of your time today, either on this live stream or on the rebroadcast. You are wonderful. I'm so grateful for you guys. And listen, we may not stop the whole consumption, overproduction, destruction train that's happening. And maybe our little efforts don't make a massive difference, but you do make a difference in your own personal sphere and in your own life and in your own home. And that does matter. And it does add up. And I don't want you to leave this feeling like, maybe I shouldn't even bother. No, we should still bother. Maybe we just need to be louder. I don't know. Have a beautiful weekend. Thank you for your kindness, your support, your generosity, and your love. And we'll see you all very soon. Okay? Okay.